What's up, Samurai? We are back again with some more Minecraft. Yes, that's right. This is going to be a one-off, spin-off video for you guys, just because I have been slowly chipping away at this personal project of mine for a few months. Now, I will end up getting into more detail with it, but generally speaking, this was my single player world. I had a single player series. I basically beat the game and then I just kind of stopped playing. And then eventually I ended up hopping into creative and I started to slowly work on this village over the course of many months. Now, it's not that this one build took me this long to make, thus it is stupendously complex. It's more so that I would just hop on, grind a little bit of building, and hop off maybe for like a couple weeks to another month. Like, it's a project that's kind of ongoing, and even now I would say is not 100% complete. It's complete in terms of most of the structures. I'm missing maybe like one build, and then on top of that, it's the micro detailing that would be the next big logical step for me, which would be like refining the path blocks and making it look a little bit better and just cleaning up some stuff that's around the area. But before we get into it, I wanted to show you guys what my single player world was looking like before I ended up slowly making this conversion. So I did end up making a wall around my base, kind of for the most part, and then otherwise in my single player series I had this as my main house, and then that was the only house that I had built. There's my iron farm, and then for the most part this was the enchantment house, and that's all there really is to it. Like, I kind of had like the foundation laid out, as you can see. But it's interesting, even for me, to have this blast from the past to see just how much has changed in terms of the builds. But yeah, anyways, hopping back into this world, you can see the drastic difference. So I'll try to go through this as quickly as possible. Nether portal I made a little bit refined. Here's my starter house, which I will be showing you guys all the interiors, just because I did end up actually like working on the interiors. I know that's kind of a thing that most Minecrafters don't end up doing on YouTube, just because why do they have to bother when usually all they have to do is the facade, which is the front, or the, you know, the outside or whatever. But anyways, a lot of these builds that you're going to end up seeing today are more so inspired by other content creators. More particularly, my favorite content creator is B000100, or B-dubs, which is kind of one of the main reasons I ended up getting into YouTube in the first place. And so a lot of these builds were kind of taking inspiration from his work, and then I slowly ended up refining it, or, you know, to something that worked for me, or frankly speaking, I found like other images on Pinterest and stuff that I would end up combining and making work. My point is that this build right here, you might see a picture of online, and it's not like my own original work. It's more so the puzzle of combining all of them so that they all work out well. I don't know, I find it fun in that regard. But anyways, there's a little fountain here, then there's a little river. All my fish keep dying. I don't know why. Either it's because the lily pads or something. The frog's fine. Oh, hi, Mark. But I keep on like caging off all these areas because I keep putting fish here, but they just keep, I don't know, they just keep despawning. You'll notice that the wall has gotten significantly more chonky around the entirety. That took a really long time to do, especially because I tried my best to have it all very, very even. I think there's like maybe one or two spots, yeah, that do this where it juts out suddenly, but for the most part, it's all 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. This, you can see, didn't get any work because normally this was my way out of my house to go fishing and stuff. And then I've got these little torches kind of all the way around the property, which has the frog torch in the middle of it, and then, you know, the lake right there. But not much point going on the outside of the town, just because there hasn't really been anything that I particularly worked on. This is just ugly. It shouldn't even be here. This was my enchantment house. So you'll notice that the other house that used to be here, I just destroyed it. I haven't put a replacement build here, but I'm kind of thinking of like a farm or something. But I don't know if I want to put that like out in the field, because it would make more sense. These are my two trading NPCs, Phil, and I don't know, I don't think I named him. This guy's got mending. I got that legit. And so that's why I kind of have them set up like that. And I just hope to goodness gracious that it's safe from zombies. But I don't think that it is, because this stupid chest is here. A lot of the chests have been remained untouched, by the way, just because even though I ended up hopping into creative for the building aspect, I didn't want to necessarily end up cheating myself a bunch of gear or anything. So every piece of gear that I got, like armor and weapons and everything, is all still legit. But anyways, this house, I'll kind of show a little bit more of the micro detailing, and we'll kind of show less and less of that as we get bit further along, we kind of got like, you know, a little bit of a dock or whatever you want to call it. And then here's the roof, which I'm quite proud of. This one's actually really, really nice color palette, I think anyways. And then the upper portion, which you'll notice that that roof is actually very, very similar. And I'll kind of explain why when we end up getting to that build itself. But in here, I've got a bunch of armor stands that are pushed into a position to make it look like it's holding up the katana. My legit dragon heads. So like I ended up getting them from like the end where I actually grinded elytra and stuff. And then here's all my old enchanted gear. I don't obviously have like a proper enchantment table set up anywhere, so maybe that's what I would end up having for the farmhouse, is I would set that up to be more utility. Because right now, like, the goal with all of this is to just build what I think looks cool rather than bothering trying to make it functional, because I don't really have a desire to actually like play through Minecraft. I might end up going back to just playing through the game at some point, but I would more than likely just swap from creative to survival and then just live in this town, just because why not? Or I'll just start a new world at some point. I don't know. This I ended up building legit without creative, and it was a chore. It really was. Getting all the quartz was an issue. Getting the oxidized copper was an issue. But I kind of used this as like my farmhouse, which doesn't really make that much sense, especially with me keep saying farm over there. But I mean more so like veggies or some sort of food source rather than this, which is for animals and junk. A little bit plain on this side. You can see I didn't really know what to do at those spots, but I mean, generally I think that it looks pretty good. This pond is fine. These fish don't die. Kind of weird. I don't know why. But before we move deeper into the town, let's move over here. So got a little bit of a bamboo showcase thing. This bridge that I ended up making vanilla, which kind of, this was a chore to build as well. And then this was going to end up being a front entrance, but I didn't end up working on that yet. Over here, so this is actually a weirder build because it's actually clashing with two different styles. So first of all, we got this little farm that was inspired by B-dubs, and then this build, I just kind of threw this roof together myself. I think it looks okay, but it does definitely not fit the aesthetic. And in a lot of ways, it feels like this roof is extremely heavy and would just completely destroy this house. But this is actually a bar that Etho and Tango made in Hermitcraft season 6 or season 7 or something. I just really liked the way that they made the interior look. So I built the interior and then I built the facade surrounding it. Another thing too you might notice is I have like a lot of random villagers around. So I was trying to work on getting like little, you know, beds and stuff where the villagers could chill. Because one of the things that I think almost every Minecraft YouTuber complains about, myself included, even though I wouldn't consider myself into that category. But I don't like how Minecraft is not very lively. You know, like the most we can do is put down like a couple animals and then villagers, but all of them are generally really, really stupid. So unfortunately, they either die or get stuck in lots of places. And I want it to look more lively. I want more motion, you know, like that's where I've been really enjoying the creative series that B-dubs and some of the other hermits have been doing as well. But anyways, enough of that noise. Let's move over to here. This is actually the most recent build. This is a bathhouse, which I don't know, I think it turned out pretty cool. One of the things that I like about this build style is using fences for accentuators. Is that the proper term? So that like is holding up the roof. And then I like using the trap doors as if it's a sliding window or a sliding door in most cases. But it's very, very plain in here. We do have the banners to symbolize the bath, and you know, we got like a campfire underneath the blocks, and then this, I guess, is supposed to be a sink so that you can kind of wash up before you go in there. I don't know. You kind of just work with what you're given, and this space was very, very small. And then there's this little planter thing, which is kind of cool. And you'll notice a lot of little details, like this planter is over in another build over there, and it kind of like ties it all in together by having like these little things. You know, my mentality behind the lore is, okay, well, this is like something that someone in the town makes, and so people can buy it regularly, kind of thing. I don't know. And then there's this main road, so we got a little bit of a ramen shop here. Again, we can't have like a cool chef or something in here. I mean, I know we could throw a villager in here, but he would just run away. Ha ha ha. Sea cucumbers look great for cups, I think. And then over here we've got a little ramen cart. Again, I didn't make this. There's no way I could figure out how to make something look this good while being this compact, but man, it looks great. And then we've got this little chair spot to kind of sit and chill. And then moving on up here. So this, as far as I recall, the interior was inspired by B-dubs, and then I forget if the exterior was something I did myself. I mean, I want you guys to keep this in mind. When I'm making these builds and saying that, oh, I just copied somebody else, I'm still quite proud of it because it's a little bit more difficult than you might think. It requires a little bit more problem solving than just simply like decoding and deciphering like a video, because most of the things that I built here, I would have like just one picture like this, and then I would just kind of have to piece together, okay, what are those blocks? I can't really see because it's not 100% resolution. And then I would have to figure out, okay, how big do I make it? How do I work on the backside, and so on and so forth, right? So that there's a little bit more to it than just a simple copy paste job. But I'm saying more, you know, I also don't want to take 100% credit and say like, oh, I made all this myself. But anyways, here's the bar. Kind of cool. Wish I could have like more NPCs and stuff. Got a little bit of storage for the stuff, and then a little door there for closet space. And then up here, so this, I don't know why these idiots are stuck up here. We got the chimney connected because I like having the chimney connect if I can. Beacons, good lord, I'm using those for lights in here. And then these are just going to end up being like little restaurant areas. So this is actually very inspired by something that I saw in real life when I ended up going to Japan with my wife. Then there's a little bench right there, and then this little spot, which I think is pretty cool. I like the fact that the wall is more dilapidated at this area, kind of implying that this might be the oldest part of the town, or maybe it has like some type of weird heritage. I don't know. I just like building these things. I don't actually write out some lore. But anyways, it's going to end up being, you know, a farm for like wheat and grain and so on and so forth. And then inside here in our bed, just because I like having the villagers in here, but they just don't want to do any work. I don't know what's wrong with them. Over here, this is going to end up being what looks like another bathhouse, but it's actually a kitchen. So you go in here and you got kind of the front desk. This guy's actually doing his job. Got a little kitchen here. This connects to the chimney outside, and then another area where we can, there we go, where we can sit and chill and, you know, just eat and everything. And one of the things that I like about this build style is the verticality, because you kind of just fill up the ceilings. Obviously, that would be like extremely dusty, but I don't know. I like the idea that you can look up and there's just more things that you can end up interacting with, because even Japanese architecture, when we went to Japan, everything's really, really compact, because they have like such a small amount of space to work with, and so they've become very, very efficient in their builds. But anyways, we got a front gate over here, and I do have little guard stations set up so that they can, I don't know, be monitored, whatever. I'm slowly chipping away at the forest because I like this look where it looks like it's been colonized, but chopping down trees is really, really tedious. Then we have, oh, a little pond right there, who cares. This is a manga shop. This one was really, really difficult to do because I think the picture that I saw was like this, and it was really, really low res, so I kind of just had to figure it out and do it all myself, including figuring out how these banners ended up working, because, you know, obviously that's a little book, right? And then you can kind of see that it works at a distance. These are banners as well, like you can see right down here, but it looks like it's a door, right? Like a sliding door. But as soon as you get close to it, it looks kind of stupid. But I mean, either way, it gets the job done, right? And then these chains, I imagine, is supposed to be like, you know, you would pull on it and then it would shut the front of the store kind of thing. But anyways, the inside, I kind of just had to imagine and do what I would figure out. I don't know. This was inspired by a build in, a real life place that I saw in Akihabara, which is kind of like the nerd central area of Japan, which was actually really cool. But there was a store like this where it just had like hundreds and hundreds of figurines all labeled. So you would basically just go through the store, write down the ones that you wanted, go to the front desk, hand them the cheat sheet, and then they would go through grabbing all of those items for you, right? And then, you know, a little area here for the store salesman, and then up here I kind of set up like, okay, well, these people like sleep here on top of their place of work. I don't know what all these idiots are doing. Stop staring at me. I don't know what those idiots are doing, but hey, whatever. And then up here, we've kind of got the more ritzy, fancy area. I figure this is where the mayor would be or something. I don't know. But you'll notice this is very, very similar to my enchantment house. So, you know, a lot of the build looks very, very similar. However, it's slightly different block palettes and slight changes to it that are a little bit different. Giant old gong right here. Bunch of torches out there to kind of signify, you know, this is like the edge of the town area, right? So it's supposed to be like an area where it's like, oh, this area is safe. And I tried my best to make it so that this is all 2-block tall, so nobody can get in, no zombies can get in. But anyways, going in here, you can see we got, you know, a nice little setup. I was gonna actually set this up as my own personal place. However, the problem with stuff like this is that storage becomes an immediate issue, because storage systems just always look really, really ugly, you know. Anyways, there's the planters, and then there's the top part, and then as we end up going down here, we get right back to the front gate. Now, another thing that I do want to mention is some of you might have noticed the fact that I've got this wooden axe in my inventory, and that's not just because of building or anything like that. It's because I did end up using World Edit for some of the heavy lifting. So the way that I ended up building all of this stuff is I went into creative, and I built these all 1 block at a time, just trying to copy like the images that I saw on my second monitor while I was building or watching YouTube or whatever. It's very, very therapeutic for me, right? It's just kind of a passive project that I want to work on. And as I ended up finishing those builds, I replicated like a couple of them in here, and then I was just like, oh man, this is gonna take a long time. So I added World Edit so that I could essentially, it's basically like a paint tool, so it allows you to select stuff and copy it like out of one world and into another. So that's kind of what I did with all of these, was I copied them all out and then found a place for them and then set them up. So just to kind of streamline that building workflow. But as you can see, there's still a lot left to be done. You know, again, this is just a project that I've slowly been chipping away at. I don't know if it'll ever end up being finished, but if there's ever a point where I feel like I need to give you guys and gals another update, I will end up doing so. But until then, consider this kind of like my end of the year or start of the new year last Minecraft video, because I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not the biggest fan of Minecraft. I do like the building. I kind of was doing this to you know, deal with stress when I was in the process of getting married, and now in the process of you know, getting our condo and everything. And so through all of that, I kind of just did this to completely de-wind. I consider this being like unplugged, you know, where I'm just chilling, I'm just building, listening to some tunes and having a good time. That's what Minecraft is for me. But as far as a video game is concerned, I'm not 100% interested in this game. That's why I always quit as soon as I end up like beating it, which granted, I am still highly anticipating and waiting for Hytale to come out, but that's probably going to be 2024. Anyways, thanks for watching. Smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel, and have a happy new year if I don't catch you in another video.